Yeah, I think a lot of it is just kind of escaping and doing your own sort of inspired actions, things that come to you, things that revelate to you, things that just come up without really thinking about it, just like intuitive to sort of deal, right? So the more you're doing that, the less you're giving any sort of attention on it. Your mind isn't going, you're not thinking about the several different outcomes. I mean, there's not only several, there's, millions about it if you think about it. Because you're always changing your perspective on things. You're always giving a second idea to what you may want to do. Oh, but this, oh, but that. So the moment you start doing that, you kind of like slow yourself down. It's good to consider it, based on what you've been through and maybe if you've something that you're looking to do again. But I think it all comes down to each individual person. We all have our own specific code of light that we want to bring to this planet, to this, to people in our view. And it's just something that you feel special about, something that you're kind of chosen to do. So if you can just simple guides too. It's not going to be something that's yelling in your face. It's going to be something that is whispering, something that is in the background, right? So in order to begin to see these changes, in order to begin to see some results other than what you're typically normal to, as far as changing how you feel, upgrading your mind, there can be some instances that you're not ready for this sort of thing, and the people that don't tune into this simply aren't. It's not in their brain yet. It's not like a download. It's not something that's been processed yet to really fully grasp and understand. But if you're aware and you're listening, that means you're curious. That means you're looking for something greater, right? You're not settling for what's been going round and round in a pattern, right? That's a loop. You've been into a loop that isn't serving you anymore. It's something that just doesn't feel right. Like you're having these second guesses, like, okay, why am I still doing this? Why am I still like surrendering to emotions, surrendering to things that don't even make sense anymore, right? So once you catch that, that means you're ahead of it. That means you're starting to think with your higher mind. That means you've started to develop this extra way of thinking. This consciousness has been raised. So if you can just grasp that idea, just knowing that you're present in the moment and you're ahead of it, that's just simply being there. Yes. I'll say too that one like that went well for me, a good realization, is that our minds have such the ability to time travel. We have the ability to time travel. The time machine is within us, right? Because our mind can think about things of the past. We can think about the memories, which isn't a bad thing. Memories are great. That's what has shaped us. But if you think about it, it means you're almost transferring your mind to the past. You're bringing yourself back to a time that no longer exists. The only time is right now. If you think back to your whole life, like what time it was then, it was now. The time is now. If you say like a numerical time, that's like physical time. That doesn't really exist here. It's just now. It's always present. Time's always right now. So we can go to the past. We can grieve on. We can think about these things, but that's in the past, right? So we've moved our mind to the past. So bringing it to now brings us to now. But we can also travel to the future. We can be worried or fearful for what's going to happen, what's lined up to happen. You may think you have things planned a certain way, a schedule. That's kind of how we were always taught to expect where to go, right? Kindergarten, first grade, middle school, high school, it moves on, right? And then when you get to a certain point that, all right, now I'm in a job that's just cyclical, nothing's really changing year to year, month to month, if it really comes down to it. So that was kind of the realization to me. I was like, okay, so nothing's really changing here, what's next? bringing it back to thinking in the future, where we're feeling that worry, that starts to become into our body, because the more time that we're putting into it, the more time that we're thinking about it, it wants to morph into how you're currently feeling. Your emotions are your energy in the motion, right? It's what's running through your body. It's your energetic being. It's the things that are flowing through to you, right? So that becomes you. Because your mind is very powerful if you haven't realized this. But the more time that you spend, I should say, sitting in one place where your mind is not scattered on several different things, if you're watching something, but maybe you're looking at something on your phone and you're eating, your mind is scattered in several different places, right? So even when you're doing this, say you're watching videos, scrolling, your mind is changing from thing to thing, right? It's keeping you thinking on multiple things at once. It's not thinking on one consistent idea, so the opposite of this would be to try to be as still as possible, to really just be with whatever is happening around you. Just observe how you feel in the present moment. Like, is your body, like, are you feeling the wind? This is for like a good nature example. But if you're at home, you don't even have to be outside. It's obviously preferable. Fresh air in the lungs is key. It all starts at your breath. I'll get onto that at another time. But being still gives you the ability to really process and think about your emotions and think about how your body is feeling. It lets you sit in that stance and says, okay, this is what's, my mind is jumping to several places at once. See, that keeps you like a mouse on the wheel, it just wants to keep running and running, right? In that case, how can you ever be truly relaxed? How can you ever feel calm? How can you ever feel in the present moment, right? Breath for me was the first thing that really started to unlock, and an example that really worked for me was called the box method of breathing. You could do 2 or 3 seconds inhale, and then you double it as you release, right? So you got 2 or 3 seconds in through the nose. You could give it a quick little hold, and then on the exhale, it's double that. And you could take brief pauses in between. The more you hold your breath, the more you have your breath in, the more you release it. So it's just really calming yourself, calming your attention to how you feel at this present state, right? Doing that, if you're in control of your breath, you're in control of your body. Because we're so used to, and we do it, we've done it our whole lives, sleeping, just sort of subconsciously breathing, unconsciously breathing, that we're just not thinking about it. It's just going, right? So the average of your breath in that state is how you feel, in a sense. It's how your body feels, right? So when you go into the gym, you're working out, you're getting a lot of oxygen because you're constantly breathing, right? You're naturally going to feel better. Not only because you got the lift and you got the gains, got the gains rolling, but you wanted to use it to pump more oxygen into your lungs, into your body. So you're in control at that stance, yes. And so when you're in control of these things, that gives you the ability to stand in the present moment. No matter what's happening around you, you're able to bring it back to yourself. So that's where I'm going to conclude with the time machine. We have the ability to travel to the future, worries, temptations, whatever, things that aren't real. We're just imagining them. It's a whole imagination. No matter the schedule, anything can happen. There's billions of outcomes transferring at all time. It's always flipping and something else is happening. It all depends on your perspective on things, how you want to go about things, the inspired actions you're taking. And it really comes down to you. So choose wisely. And I'd love to discuss this further, but that's a little taste of what I want to bring. And I'm happy you guys are tuning in. I'd love to chat and I want to bring the love to you. That I love talking about this. It's deep. If you feel tuned in at all, if you're enjoying what's being presented, then I recommend you get more of it, and let's chat. So all good things. All right, lots of love. Talk to you soon.